Welcome, welcome. Uh, okay, so it's the date is the what's the date today? 12th, 10th, 12th. Can't see my 13th. So it's the 13th of March, Sunday. Welcome to a live stream again. We've got another one. Excuse the mess in the background. One day I'll clear that mess up sometime in the future. If you can hear, just post a comment so I can, so I know that sound is okay. Should be. We've got the microphone over here. I've tightened it up and plugged it in and all looks okay. So what we'll do is we'll start off with going back in time until we get a few more people, and then we'll talk about things more current and or answer some questions. Just as a initial reminder, around about 8:30, depending on what time this live stream finishes, I'll be doing a live stream on the Watch channel. So pop over there if you want to. So when I was here talking last time, which was a couple of weeks ago now, I was talking about some of the trips that I had done with Sue, my late wife at that time in 2004. And I'd mentioned a couple of the mountains that we had climbed. So I really just go on with one other mountain that we did, just as something to talk about for a minute. So the next one that we did was Skiddaw, and that was quite an interesting quite an interesting day, to say the least, that one, because basically we parked in the car park and the weather was a pretty shocking forecast that day. So we headed up Skiddaw. The basic plan was just to walk straight up it. It was a really easy path up. It was almost just like a gravel path up there, to be honest. So basically we just sort of started walking up the path, and the higher we got up this path, the windier it got. And when we got to the top of Skiddaw, it was quite literally just blowing an absolute gale. I managed to just about get across, just about got over the top of Skiddaw. Hello. Thank you. So I just about managed to get over the top of Skiddaw, but it was so howling an absolute gale that Sue just couldn't do it. So the only way that we could actually get over it, it was so windy, was on our hands and knees. I managed to just about get over the other side, but like I said, she was just being blown back and couldn't move, and I couldn't get back over the top because it was so windy. I don't know what the wind speed was, but given that we were on our hands and knees and that we couldn't walk, it must have been in excess of 40 or 50 miles per hour, because I think I heard or read somewhere that when wind speeds are so strong that it's literally blowing you over, that is when it is very, very windy, and like upwards of 50. So if you see any of these campers and they're saying they've got 80 mile per hour winds, and they're walking around their tents, then you know it's not 80 miles per hour. Because if it was that strong, you wouldn't be able to stand up, let alone anything else. But anyway, there was no way that Sue was going to get over the top of that mountain. So basically, I came around the side, caught up with her, and we just made the decision that we would have to go back down Skiddaw towards the car park, and we could have gone back to the car. But what we decided to do in the end was, at the bottom of Skiddaw, and anyone that knows it, there's a valley that goes around down the bottom. So, and of course, when we were walking, it was typical weather that day. When we were walking down, the wind eased off a little bit, so the wind got easier. But unfortunately, the rain came in, and it just absolutely hammered it down with rain. I'll say hello and everything in a moment. If you've got any questions, whack some questions there or anything like that. And I'll just carry on with this little story. Oh, God. I'll just carry on with my story. Well, let's see. Oh, yeah. The place is the usual mess around this where everything gets, everything falls over. So anyway, we could have headed back, to the car. But we know we were already out. We had our walking stuff on, we had our rucksacks with us, and we had our food and everything else with us. And it was kind of I'm always driving, I'm the clumsiest bugger ever. So basically we just got down to the bottom and then it just hammered it down with rain. And it was kind of, now what do we do? Do we still head back to the car? But like I said, we had all of our stuff with us. So we sort of said, oh, let's go walk around the valley. So we walked around the valley, and it was just a miserable old day. Not much else happened, but I do remember that every time I walked with Sue in those days, we'd stop for lunch because we didn't camp back then. She wasn't into camping, so we stopped for lunch, and I had one of those MSR burners, the one with the metal pipe thing that comes out, and basically just sort of hook that up to um it's the gas thing, put the foil around it, and we sort of boiled, I think it was boiling bag meals or something like that. So we like sort of got those meals going, and I just remember it, eating those meals, and it's really nice. It's lovely memories. I really miss those days, I must admit, with with someone, with a female who wanted to walk with me and enjoyed it. Um, good old Sue, she enjoyed it. But basically, it was hammering it down with rain, and we had those boiling. But I think it's like a Wayfarer meal or something, like that. And it was like trying to eat the meal as quickly as you could before before they kind of got flooded with the rain that was coming down. Anyway, basically, we finished up, and then we carried on the walk. And I think we got back to the car, a few hours, later on. Can't remember how long it was to get back now, but I know it was a bit of an old trek. It has to be said, to get back, but it's a really, really easy walk, around the base of Skiddaw, that valley. I've got no idea what the river is called down there or anything, but I just remember that day. So that was just an interesting walk. And then another mountain that we climbed when we were there was Great Gable, and that was a challenging day, I have to say. Basically, we parked at, I think it was Wasdale Head, and we walked straight pretty much to the base of Great Gable. And down the bottom down there was no wind whatsoever. So we thought we'll give it a crack. I was a bit fitter back then as well. So we thought, well, just give this a bit of a crack. So basically we started walking up, and I don't know if anyone's been up Great Gable. To be honest, I probably would not tackle it now. I don't think I'd be quite fit enough to do it, or have enough balance in the older legs than I did have back then. So I'm not sure I'd be committing to it now. But that is one hell of a steep climb getting up Great Gable. It is really, really steep, and it was probably almost one of the scariest, not maybe not the scariest I've done, but it was certainly one of the scariest walks that I did, heading up to Great Gable. So we eventually got up there, and there was a few other people. Can't remember if we passed anyone on the way up, but there was a few people up the top. And of course, again, I don't know if you know at the top of Great Gable, and I've literally just seen it once, but it's just covered in rocks and stones and flint or that type of stuff or something like that. So there's no real paths, leading off of it. So it was kind of like you had to, well, from the top, you pretty much had to take a compass bearing to find out where the path was. I mean, if you knew it quite well, then you probably would be fine. But I was a little bit apprehensive, I must admit. So, and given that it was steep, I didn't want to be going the wrong way of falling off it or anything stupid. So anyway, I took a compass bearing and we managed to get off it. But to get from Great Gable over to the next hill, you've got to go down quite a steep slope, which kind of does that type of thing, heading down. And then when you get down to the bottom, that's just down this little bit here, you cross a pass and it's called Windy Gap. And that sure as hell lived up to its name. And I vaguely remember, actually, I don't vaguely remember, I remember very clearly that our maps nearly went flying. Luckily, they were tied on. We used those it's a Boy Scout string things, to keep our maps on us. We had the big OS maps back then, right? I tend to use a smaller map and fold it up a bit smaller now, so it's more compact in the hand, and therefore you can like, stick it somewhere more secure, but still easy to get at. But back then, I had a 1 to 25,000 OS map, and it was by the time you folded it up, it was like this kind of like big like that. It was really a big chunky old kite of a map, and basically, anyway, that nearly flew off. But I do remember that I just about got across Windy Gap, and Sue, bless her, she had a hell of a job getting across that. How she just didn't disappear down the gully, Christ alone knows, because it was at the point where you were having to almost crawl on your hands and knees to get across Windy Gap. Anyway, we got across it, eventually, and then headed around the side of the next hill, and then it's just a straightforward walk down towards the car park from there. But I just remember those two, those two interesting, interesting to say the least, trips. It's kind of a shame I didn't have a camera or video, wasn't doing videos back then, because there was some really, really interesting walks, that we used to do. Never thought of it until after certain things, but so I just mentioned those. So we got a few people. We got about 9 of you, which is about as many as I've had before. So if you've got any questions or anything like that, pop them over there. So we've got Life on the Rocks, hello, and Tam Drums Lover, hi. Hello to you two, and hello to everybody else on there. Like I said, if you've got any questions, whack them there, and I will do the best that I can to to answer them. Otherwise, and if you've got anything you want me to talk about or anything like that, then that's fine as well. Otherwise, I'll run out of things to talk about. One thing I will just show you. You remember I did that video about my pillow that kept failing? Well, one of the subscribers, Shane, over in America, recommended these pillowcases or pillows. So I ordered that. I think I got it on eBay, and then it came just a few days ago. So the idea is, I think the Americans, they come out with these things, don't they? You're not like we're about 20 million years behind the Americans over here sometime. But I remember seeing a video. It was probably about it was a good 10 years ago, because when I started on YouTube, I don't know if any of you ever watched Chad Poindexter back in the day, when he was doing videos in America, and he was always using Z-Pack stuff. And when I was starting out, I was always using Mountain Road Design stuff, and there was always a bit of a bit of a friendly rivalry between us as to who's using what. I never see him now. I don't know what happened to him. But anyway, he did a video on these like 10 years ago or something like that, and I never got one. I don't know why I never thought to get one, but they actually look quite good, and they are incredibly light. They must be like about, I don't know, I mean, it's almost like a paper bag. I mean, it must be like 30 grams or something like that. So you just need a straw, and you whack your straw in there, and that's your pillow. And then you have to take your straw out, because if you don't take the straw out, it goes down. And that's your pillow. And then I think you maybe just stick like a bandana or something like that around it, or maybe put it inside a t-shirt. And that actually sounds okay. Now, it is quite rattly, you can probably hear. So I'm not quite sure how that's going to be, sleeping. But as I mentioned in my video, the people are always complaining about Thermarest making a noise. Well, does it really matter that your pad is making a noise? Because the only time they make a noise is when you're moving around on it, maybe when you're eating, or maybe when you're getting comfortable or something like that. So does it really matter, even if it sounds like an elephant walking past your tent? Because once you actually have settled down and your head's, and then you fall asleep, it's not going to carry on making any more noise, is it? So I've never quite understood, why people, complain about the noise that their sleep system makes, because it only makes a noise when you're awake and when you're moving. And once you've stopped moving, well, it's not going to make any more noise, is it? It can't, can it? So anyway, so like I said, I'll give these a try on my next count. It literally just came the other day, so I would definitely be keen to give this a try. And did I mention that when I'm using the, I think it's an X-Pad, I think, a lightweight pillow. Well, what I tend to do is I tend to blow it up, and I don't take a chair with me or anything like that, because I've got enough. Even though most of the stuff I use is lightweight, I don't want to be adding on, unnecessary stuff. I'm sure a chair is very comfortable, and I know, some of you take chairs with you, but I'll tend to avoid the extra weight, certainly for the moment, because I'm usually gone for several days. And, that means taking extra power packs, to charge up phones and GoPros and things like that. So I tend to try and avoid, taking excess stuff that realistically you just don't really need. Yes, I know it's comfortable. Yes, I know it's nice to have. And yeah, of course, if you take it, that's fine. I'm not saying don't take it, but for me, I don't need it. So, and also the way that I tend to camp as well, or what I used to do when I was camping, is I'd be walking most of the day, and then I'd stop, maybe just sit on a stone, sit on a sit mat, even if it was on the ground, have something to eat, and then carry on walking. And I did that for several years. It's only the last like 2 or 3 years I've turned into a lazy bastard, and I tend to sort of walk not too far now, and camp and just chill out and camp for a few days. Um, and then, of course, what I do with the pillow, I'm coming back to the pillow, I haven't forgotten the pillow. What I tend to do in the pillow, but even if I wasn't camping all night, sorry, if I wasn't camping all night, even if I wasn't staying several days, oh God, um, I would still do this. And I've always done this, is because I haven't got a chair, it gets a little bit uncomfortable leaning on your elbow, and it gets a lot of pressure on your shoulder because you haven't got a chair. So what I tend to do is I put the pillow under the crook of my arm, and that just gives my body, a little bit of support. Because when I'm by myself, which I am most of the time, and I'm in camp, I don't need a chair. I don't need to be outside. And if I am outside and it's nice and sunny, there's usually a rock or some tussock grass or something that I can sit on that's already, that God or Darwin or whatever we believe in, put there, for us. So I don't realistically need to take, a chair. So I think what I was doing is, because those pillows were so lightweight and I don't think they were that strong, is I think just by putting it under my arm and leaning on it, I think I was just wrecking them, basically. And that's why I never really bothered, trying to, get money back on the warranty or anything like that. Uh, But the instructions uh, that come with these indicate that they have 150 pound. Now I don't know what that is in kilograms, but I'm imagining it's quite a lot. I'm imagining 150 pounds in pressure and weight is many kilograms. I don't know, maybe like 100 kilograms or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so the pressure that these can take is 150 pounds. So I'm kind of thinking that if I blow this up and whack it under my arm and lean on it, it won't break. That's what I'm thinking. So these actually sound, quite ideal for me. So I ended up, I probably don't need two. In fact, I probably don't need three of them, but they're only like £3. And they was like £5 posted. So I thought, well, I may as well get, I'm afraid the Hobbs family, I think get it from a dad. You never get one of something when you can get like 10 of something. So basically these two are identical in size, and then they had a bigger one. Well, us men have always got to have a bigger one, haven't we? So then I got this one here, which is, and even so, realistically, that is actually, quite massive for a pillow. So I think it's actually a good job I just got one of those, because I don't really think I'm going to use that one so much. I think that one's, I don't think my head's that big, is it? So I think realistically that one should be, I think that one should be plenty. So on my next trip, which will be sometime in the next couple of weeks, next 2 or 3 weeks, I'll head out and then I'll take that, and it'll kind of be interesting. 150 pounds is 63 kilograms. So, okay, well, I was a bit out, but not too far. So 63 kilograms. Well, that's almost okay. I'm a bit more than 63 kilograms, but not much more then. So if I stood on it, then yes, it would break, because I'm probably about 75 or maybe a bit more now, kilograms. But that's a hell of a lot of pressure. So I ain't going to break that. So that sounds absolutely perfect. So, thanks to Shane for that suggestion. So we've got a few more bods now. We've got 5 of you. I don't know whether you're still all around. So Bliss Outdoors, that's Stephen. I try and remember some of your names. I don't know the names of the other ones, but and I know you've been commenting on most of my videos. So, thank you. Thank you very much, for that. It's much appreciated. So I'm trying to think what else to what else to talk about. So what about this wind and things like that then? Because that's kind of a bit of a hot topic, and everybody, seems to be interested in everyone seems to be interested in the wind, it seems. So when we go out in the summer, are all the people that are watching windy videos and raining videos, are they going to carry on watching, or are they just going to go and start watching something else? Because camping out in the sunshine and relaxing and enjoying ourselves, with the umbrellas up and all that type of thing, might not be quite so interesting for people. So it's kind of going to be interesting to see what people, whatever YouTubers post, in the months, coming ahead, when they can't go out and storm this and storm that and everything else like that. Because it's like every single video that we see now, and of course I did it. I mean, I do it as well a bit because it helps get a few views, but not as many as some of the others. But it seems like every video you see now is people being out in some massive storm or something like that. Luckily, most of them seem to know what they're doing, and seem to get away with it. Bushman and Blue seems to be one of the ones leading the way at the moment. I don't know whether anyone saw. I don't watch that many videos, but I've seen a couple of his, and I don't know if you saw his last video. One of his last videos, his tent actually flooded. He literally had water on his ground sheet where he was camping, and it was a good job he had a thermarest because that kept him literally above the the water that was literally flowing over his ground sheet. So I think his tent had a bit of a failure there. So maybe he needs to get a tent that doesn't fail him, and then we can see him doing a camp where he's not being blown off or having his tent collapsed on him. He's had two tents collapsed on him now, I've noticed in his video. So that's kind of interesting. But when I did the camp, the other day down on Dartmoor in Storm Eunice, I sort of deliberately went somewhere that that was sheltered because I don't really see the point of risking yourself too much. Although in the end it was so sheltered, the wind speed only got up to about 36 miles per hour. I think 36 or 37 miles per hour. So if you saw that video, I put out the wind weather station thing, and when I checked the maximum speed the next day, even though the Hillyberg um, Llama 3 GT was blowing around, quite a bit when I was inside in the morning, but it held up very, very well. And I must admit, given how much it was blowing around, I was kind of like thinking that it must be like 40 or 50 miles per hour out there. And then of course I went out, had a look on the on the Kestrel that I had out there. I don't know if I got the Kestrel handy here. I think it's upstairs. Um, and the maximum speed was about 35. I think it was about 37 miles per hour, something like that. So if you are gonna be silly enough to go out in a storm, then maybe the best suggestion is unless you're looking for views or something like that. And I'm not saying I would never do it, but um, maybe try and find somewhere that's a little bit sheltered, a little bit safer to camp in, because it's still pretty hairy even when you're in a sheltered position. Because when I was walking back with Chris, who was one of the chaps who follows me on here, when I was when we were walking back to the car afterwards, it was actually windier walking back to the car across the exposed moor than it was, I am very sure, anywhere at any time in camp, because that particular camp was down in a sort of in a dip like that. And I think most of the wind actually went right over our heads, because like I said, actually getting back to the car was more of a challenge. And we were walking along. I didn't film this or anything like that, but we were walking along heading towards Brat Tor. And normally when I go up and down Brat Tor from the car park there, I tend to go, if you're heading towards the car park, I tend to go to the left of Brat Tor. Well, I walk around the right of Brat Tor, walk around the front of it, and then there's a quite a easy path that just takes you, down to the river at the bottom. So I headed in that direction because that's my usual route of getting down. And when we got to the edge of that, Chris said to me, "Can we find a different way down?" Because we were literally uh, almost being blown off our feet. And I actually think it would have been dangerous to walk down that way. I might just have made it, but I mean, it was, yeah. So we basically just went down to the right, and then we walked down down the valley, down that way, down to the car park. But that walk across the top, I'm very, very sure, was windier than at any time that we were in camp when that storm was passing over, because we were almost being blown over. And like I said, I do know that when you're at the point where you can't actually walk in a straight line in the wind, I think that's when the winds are at like 40 plus miles per hour. And of course, stupidly, when I packed everything away, I packed the Kestrel in the pack, and I kicked myself when I was walking back, because I should have I could have, checked the wind speed as I was walking back, because it would have been really interesting, just to see how that wind speed was, was going up there, because it was really, really windy up there. But then obviously the other thing that we've added on. So what we've done with the channel basically is it's still it's still me being an absolute, madman. But basically, I've just added in a few extra, like more, consumer friendly items. And I think that's kind of helped the channel a bit actually, because what I was getting up until about a month or 2 months ago, and I don't mind because I mean I don't make much on it anyway, but I mean I was making about £20 a month or something like that, about 25 pounds or something like that. But since I've been sort of doing these extra videos and putting a few more out, um, and then obviously using other items like Hillyberg and things like that, that people are maybe more likely to search for, that's increased to about £40 at this moment in time. Now, whether it stays at that level or whether it drops back off again, I don't know. But that's, it's quite pleasing that obviously that indicates that more people are watching. And it kind of also indicates that if I'm getting £40 from just a few hundred views for using Hillyberg in the title, or frying the sausages or something like that, which clearly people are interested in, people who are getting thousands and thousands and thousands of views must be getting can't be doing too badly, can they? So let's say we get a few more views, and try and make an extra couple of quid out of it. But I mean, I've never really done it for the money, to be honest. I mean, in fact, when I started, most of you would never have heard of a chap called Colin Ibbotson, but he was probably the first. I'm very sure he was the first person who bought MOD items into this country. And in fact, I never hear anything of him these days. I think he's still around, but I think he used to do a lot of long distance walking. He was a lightweight specialist, when I started, like I say, over 10 years ago now. And it was from him that I got the idea of how to wear lightweight shoes, or, trail shoes, and my layering system with the socks. So even in the middle of the winter, where um oh, what's it called? A sealskin's merino liner and Cool Max. Yeah, sorry. So even in the middle of the winter, unless it's like really, 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 really cold, but even then you actually might get away with this as long as you went sinking deep in snow, was a Cool Max liner sock, merino liner sock, and then sealskin socks over the top of that, and then put your lightweight, and then put your lightweight running shoes on, and that is a really, really, a really, really good way of of walking in the winter, and it is really, really comfortable. I tend to wear boots more now because I'm walking a shorter distance, and then when I'm in camp, I don't really necessarily want to be putting wet feet on, or wet shoes on, and soaking wet socks if I'm just wandering around or something. But when I was walking more, that was a really, really good system. But like I said, he was one of the first people, if not the first person, that brought the Trail Star over here, going back probably 2009, 2010. And then I sort of saw him using it, and I saw someone else using it, and that's kind of like basically how I started. Why did I go off on that tangent? There was some reason why I was so I went back there. I don't know what I was talking about now. I just go waffling along. Hey, when you say a bit noisy, are you talking about this thing here? You like playing a bit of a catch up here? You're talking about um that, or what? But so what was I talking about? Um why did I start talking about that? And I need to like record my evening. Good evening, Wayno Fox. Um, I can't even remember why I went off on that tangent talking about that now. Oh, well, maybe it'll come back to my mind, or maybe someone could just tell me what the hell I was talking about 2 minutes ago. I've completely forgotten what I was talking about now, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Um, what was I talking about? Uh, that is stupid. Now, you do that when you're in a conversation with someone. At least then they can start talking about something. When you're talking to yourself, resubscribe to your channel to love your videos. All the best. Oh, thank you very much. Yes. Oh, yes. I think I was talking about. Yeah, that's probably what I was talking about. In the early days, wasn't it? Wind. Yeah, I was talking about noisy. Yeah, talking about wind. Yeah, what was I talking about? Wind now. Oh my! I tell you, my brain. I'm so bloody tired these days. I can't even keep up with my own. I can't even keep up making money from YouTube and using more commercial kit. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, so of course by adding on, these, by doing, yeah, thank you, by frying by frying the sausages and things like that. That's kind of, increased things a little bit. So it kind of would be interesting to see whether that, stays the same or not. But probably what I'll do moving forward is, use some of that stuff occasionally, because it's okay, but it's not. I have done a video and I haven't sent it out there yet. And I did get the, I'm not going to say too much here. I'll leave you in a bit of suspenders, really. But I did get the Osprey 55 pack because I found it for about £130 or something like that. And I thought, well, it's not too expensive. And I thought that might be worth just giving it giving it a crack, just see what this, see what the other half are using, as it were. And I'd been using the Osprey 44, or at least I'd had the Osprey Talon 44. I talk about the Talon 55 and 44. And I had the Osprey Talon 44 uh, about 10, 12 years, something like that. And it's for something that's not a lightweight frameless pack, that's not, not an MLD pack or something like that. The Talon 44 is, and I don't have a huge amount of experience of many other bags, so you kind of take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt, really. But I think the Talon 44 is probably one of the best packs that you're going to get if you're not using, a super lightweight pack. So if you're looking to get a pack, and as long as you can get everything in the Talon 44, then I would say that is a really, really good pack to go for. Really good pack. It's light enough. It's got plenty of straps on it, to put your foam mats on, and strap everything that you need. The outside pocket, is perfect, because if you watch my videos, you'll know that I like to put things in the front pocket, like tents, basically. I've seen a few, like I said, I don't watch very many videos, but I've seen a few, people camping videos of other YouTubers and things like that. And I've seen some people, and they put their tents inside the pack. And I don't really know why they do that. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't make sense, because yes, of course, if you get into camp and it's dry and sunny, you can open your pack, take your tent out and everything else like that. But if it's raining, hammering it down with rain, do you really want to be opening your pack, in a rainstorm? Not really. So I always put my tent, in that front pocket, and all of my shelters will fit in those front pockets. Every single shelter that I have, even over my left shoulder back there, that, wherever it is, the acto, even that fits in the front pocket, or I make sure it fits in the front pocket of the, of the packs that I use. And really, if you've got a pack, put your tent in the front pocket. Don't put it inside. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's fine if you do. It's fine. No, I'm not. I'm not your teacher. I'm not telling you off or anything like that. Don't do it. Don't do it. But it just doesn't make sense to me, why someone puts a tent inside their pack. It's just too much hassle for me. So I thought, if the Talon 44 is this like wonderful pack that I've got, other than the MLD stuff that I've got, which just blows it out of the water, frankly. Um, but I was kind of like sort of thinking, well, I noticed that Osprey have got the Talon 55 out. So I thought, that actually might be worth getting, and using, and, making a video of it and things like that. And I kind of got this Talon 55, and I put a video up on it, and a walk around of it. And I was kind of like biting my tongue in that video when I was doing that video. I was like really biting my tongue because it's an awful pack. I was really, really disappointed in the Talon 55. Now, like I said, I've got another video. I haven't edited it yet. I will edit it, and I will get it out there sometime in the next few weeks or the next month or so. I'll get it done as quickly as I can. But I have to say, I'm not going to say why now. I'll save it for the video. But I have to say, yes, it's a nice pack. But there's a lot of things that unfortunately Osprey screwed up on it. And they, like I said, they took the Talon 44, which I think is a brilliant pack, and they just killed the 55. I just don't understand what they did. If they'd have taken the 44 and made the 55 exactly the same as the 44, I think they would have had a really, really nice pack on their hands. I think it would have been a good pack. Maybe just a little bit more redesign on the shoulder straps, maybe. But given that most of the weight goes on the hips anyway, I reckon the shoulder straps would have been fine, because the shoulder straps on the 44 are good enough. I don't really see any problem with the shoulder straps on that. And I know some of you are probably thinking, yeah, but if you've got a bigger pack, then you're going to be putting a lot more weight in it. Therefore, you need big, beefy shoulder straps on it. I don't think you do necessarily, because yes, if you go from a Talon 44 and you go up to a 55 pack, um, you're not going to be adding, because obviously if you go by size, literage, that's 10 liters more. But 10 liters more is not 10 kilograms more, is it? And if you're going to be using that pack, it's most likely going to be in the winter. So what are you going to be putting in? What else is going to go in a 55-liter pack over and above a 44-liter pack? Maybe your tent would be a bit heavier, but not substantially heavier, maybe a kilogram, say. So that's 1 kilogram heavier. Your sleeping bag, might be a bit heavier. And of course, it's going to take up more weight. And that's probably the only reason that you will want the Talon 55 or a bigger pack, is basically because of putting in a bigger sleeping bag. Now, if you take a sleeping bag that's warmer, it's going to be a bit heavier, but it's not going to be much heavier. So, it's only going to be 500 grams, a kilogram heavier maximum. It ain't going to be more than that, is it? Let's face it. So, okay, so we've added, say, 2 kilograms to our winter weight. What else are we going to be adding in? Okay, maybe, I suppose if you're into winter stuff, you might add your crampons in, and which I don't do anyway, but you might be adding in your crampons and that type of thing. But again, most of that stuff is quite lightweight anyway. So that's maybe an extra kilogram. And that's about it. You're not really going to be taking anything else different in the winter to the summer. Your stove would be mostly the same. Maybe you might take a slightly different stove or something, maybe, that might be marginally heavier. But my point is, you're not going to be adding a ton more weight that warrants shoulder straps being that much beefier than is on the Talon 44. And when I was using the Talon 55, I actually found the straps less comfortable than the ones on the 44, because they'd redesigned them, put extra padding in, and I actually found the straps and the padding on that to be more uncomfortable, personally. Like I said, I have got a video on it, and unfortunately, and I didn't want to do it because I do like, um, I do like to, I don't like saying negative things about stuff, and you know, and also I don't want to be ripping apart, you know, good quality things. But unfortunately, I was really disappointed. I wanted to like the Talon 55, and it was I was woefully disappointed, woefully disappointed. Like I said, check out the video on that one, and we can talk about that more, in the future. But I mean, I will use it again. I will use it, again, because it stick whack the title. Osprey Talon 44 in the title might get a few more views. Well, about time I had a few more views, and I've been doing it pretty long enough. So, but basically, yeah, carrying on from what I was saying the last post, yeah, basically, I'm going to add in a few extra bits and bobs like that just to try and get some more traction on the channel. And I think it has helped. Like I said, I think certainly the money is up, a tiny bit. And I think, there's a few more views and things like that. But it's even I'm kind of thinking that maybe that people now that have joined the channel, because I noticed that when people watch other channels' videos, their videos like get like 1 or 2 or 3 or more thousand views per video that goes out there. Mine are still only getting, a few hundred, are only getting a few hundred views still. Yet the revenue has increased, a little bit. I mean, it hasn't gone up, fortune, but it has gone up from like 20 to 35, 40 or something like that pounds. So, it kind of would be interesting to see what happens, moving forward. And my guess is because I've been putting more videos out, and I think that's maybe brought new people in. Hi, Shane. I think because that's brought new people in, I'm kind of thinking that because I got 460 or 70 videos on the channel, I'm kind of hoping that maybe people might, go back in time and watch some of the other videos that are on there. Because I'm kind of curious as to the money's gone up, but the views are still the same on the videos that I've put out. Maybe it's just because I've put a video out each day and it's from that. So I don't know. It kind of be interesting to see what happens, moving forward on that. Fox, we don't talk about that one. Yeah, order it and yeah, you'll be fine. Yeah, just order it and you'll be fine. Bliss Outdoor, Stephen, would you do any coastal wild camps or forest camps? Maybe something. I'm hoping to do something like that. One person on here, I don't know if he's around. Um, yes, so there's someone on here, and his cousin owns a field and a small wood. So I'm hoping that his cousin will let me use his field and his wood, and if he does, then I'll maybe try some hammock camping or something like that in later in the spring. We'll kind of see how it goes. It's kind of like a fingers crossed on that one. And if I can use the field, which I'm hoping will come, will happen. Like I said, I don't know. I've not heard a positive yet, so I'm still waiting to find out whether it is possible. But what I'm hoping to do, if it is borrow this field and then pitch every single MLD shelter that I have, and that could be interesting because I got a few of them. Because I've got 2 ponchos effectively. I've got the solo grace tarp. I've got the duo grace tarp. I've got the duo mid, the super mid. I've got obviously the 2 trail stars, and that's probably it at the moment. So I know Tony's going to have words. That's going to be interesting, isn't it? If we have all those trees around us and everything else, like that. So I'm hoping, that comes through, because then, like I said, if it does, then I'll get a hammock and try that. But like I said, it's just waiting to see whether that can come, whether that comes through. And it has kind of this coastal thing. I don't know whether I'll do anything like that or not, but it kind of has crossed my mind, because I never filmed it, which is a bit of a shame. But and I mentioned this Colin Ibbotson like years and years ago, when he was doing things, and he kind of like disappeared. I think he kind of disappeared after seeing me once or twice, and I never heard from him again, which is probably not surprising. Um, but anyway, he did the Southwest Coastal Path. This is 2012, or I think it was the end of 2012, beginning of 2013. And he did the Southwest Coastal Path, starting somewhere down on the Southwest and going all the way around. Because I sort of got, friendly with him, I met him at one point, and then we walked, I think it was towards Bude or something like that. And we camped on the coast there, up on a field or something like that. So I did that. Um, so I did that with him, and then we did another walk. I came back. It was just a one night, and then I came back home, and then he carried on walking, and then I met him. Sorry, no, that wasn't. Yes, I think it was. No, Buda's on the north coast, isn't it? No, Budleigh Salterton was on the south coast. So I think we walked past Budleigh Salterton, and then we camped somewhere up on the top looking down. So that might be worth trying, at some time. But it's like, because it's the coastal path and things like that, there's probably like people walking around quite a bit, which I tend to, try to avoid. And I quite like, camping out for several nights at a time and just not seeing anybody, I must admit. But it's certainly something to, to consider. And then we did another, and I met him again when he was doing on the north part. I met him at, was it somewhere on the north? It was either Bude or somewhere like that, but I can't. I've got one of my places mixed up. Anyway, I met him on the north coast, and then we walked. Oh Christ! I mean, that was such a long day. That one, I think we walked about 20 miles or something like that, and it's really steep on that side. I mean, I was shattered. I was knackered. I couldn't do it now. I would not be able to do it now. Um, Yeah, is Bude on the north coast? I'm sorry, my brain has just gone completely dead now. But we did Bude, and then we walked. If Bude is on the north coast, I met him at Bude, and then we walked about 20 miles north, and that's where I did take a photograph of it. And I had the Seal Island Trail Star, and I think he had the MLD, Duo Med, and we were camped right above the coast. So I think, yeah, it's something worth thinking about at, sometime, at some point or other. But I'm kind of hoping that this field thing comes through, and this wood thing and Tony's wood comes through. Hopefully I can get the wood out and do something there. So Tony, okay, so yeah, we covered the import fees. Yeah, yeah, just buy it. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Nothing's going to happen, most likely. Um, would you do any forest camps? Yeah, like I said, hopefully. Simon Templar, do great to listen to you doing these podcasts. Stuff works when it works, and you can check it out for us. Yeah, sure. And well, like, the other thing that would be helpful is if there's anything that you're kind of like interested. Dig up peace and love. If there's any sort of kit that you're interested in, or because obviously I did a community thing, and I said, what would you be interested in me trying? And obviously the DD pyramid tent was number one, so I bought that, and it wasn't too expensive. And obviously the second one was the Namas 3 GT, which I already had. So, if there's any other kit, that you're interested in, that you would like me to think about getting, that you think might help me, might help the channel, and might just be of interest to you as well, then let me know, and I'll think about getting it, as long as it doesn't, cost a fortune. But then if we get a few more views and a bit more money made on this thing, then that might cover things anyway. And as Simon says, I came back to you because you're not flogging stuff or being a YouTube star. You're a genuine doing your thing. The cost of being genuine. Yeah, exactly. And that's why nobody watches me, because it's probably just boring to most people. But that's just what it is. Like I said, I've been doing it for 10 years and I still only get a few hundred views on a video. You've got these other people that come on, they've been there, what, a year, 2 years, and they get thousands and thousands of views, opening a gate, closing a gate, walking up a path, filming themselves. Maybe I should try that as well sometime. Um, you know, getting flooded out, doing that type of stuff, and then head back the next day. Whereas most of what I do, I'm tending to, yes, it's probably a bit boring staying in the same place, but hell, I'm 50 now. I just want to enjoy myself, relax, have fun out there. And if some of you enjoy what I'm doing and it doesn't appeal to the masses, well, that's fine. It is what it is. But like I said, most likely, if I use, stick Hillyberg in the title, or Osprey Talon in the title, or Osprey Talon or something. Mind you, I know some of you probably love your Osprey pack, so I'm kind of like sort of thinking, when I put this video out on this Talon 55, you'll all bugger off. But yeah. But I'm genuinely disappointed in that Talon 55, and I think that actually comes across in the video when I get around to doing it. But yeah, do some videos of some of the more famous YouTubers if you want to grow your viewership. Um, Grim, but that is what it is. Yeah, I mean, again, that's probably, hopefully I've done. Obviously, last year I met one friend who watches me. I met someone else, earlier, last week, who watches me. So I think yes, if there's any other YouTubers out there that wants to camp with me, if you're mad enough, and you want to do something with me, yeah, send me a message and we'll think about something. Hopefully, I've got one or two things, well, one thing maybe lined up. Um, in the future of doing something with someone. So we'll kind of see what happens with that. Then, like I said, hopefully I can get this this wooden field done. That could be interesting. But we'll kind of see how it goes, really. I'm quite happy just plodding on as I am, really. But yeah, it would be nice to get. Sometimes I see these other YouTubers, all these thousands of views, and I'm kind of like sort of thinking, oh, you bastard. You've only been there for like a year or so. No way you're getting in. Oh god, it's a good job I laugh at everything, isn't it? Yeah, bloody hell. You'd go mad otherwise, wouldn't you? Have a camp with some young equipment reviewer star and be nice to them. Um, Heartland Cater Bude, the most bleak and tough path to do. I'll have to look it up. Hang on, let me just bear with me a second, actually, because of course now we don't have View Ranger now, do we? Oh, hang on. And my other phone is out there. Oh, of course we don't have View Ranger, do we? Oh, those bastards. We'll have to go into Google then a minute. Maps UK. Hang on, it'll just be interesting. Just bear with me just a minute, because it would be interesting just to. Can I make that? And that won't grow. Hang on a minute. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm just gonna get my other phone. Sorry. Okay. I'm still using two phones here. Okay, right. Yeah, so it was viewed. Yeah, it was definitely viewed, and we walked up. Yeah, I think that is exactly it. Because yeah, that was exactly it. I think we walked. I think we walked from viewed all the way up to. I think we got to as far as Heartland Point, and I think we camped somewhere. I think we camped somewhere on that on the cliff top. It was quite because it's quite remote. So even though there's like a parking area quite close, I mean it was quite remote. So I have a feeling. So I don't know if you can kind of like if that's gonna. So I think we camped somewhere up in this area over here. And that was a long walk. That's about I don't know, it's about 20 miles or something like that. It was a hell of a long walk. Like I said, that was about 2013. I wouldn't be able to do it now, to be honest. So Paul Messner, hello Paul. When I head down to Dartmoor, yes, we'll definitely be doing something there. I'll try not to lose the most famous the most famous YouTuber in a bog or something like that. Paul Messner, Paul Messner disappear. Hobbs goes out with Paul Messner and comes back without the most famous YouTuber. That would be kind of be interesting, wouldn't it? Simon, P.S. Dig up, peace and love by you are an awesome guy with good talking style. You just need to steal a few viewers from other channels. It is not silly to sell yourself, even if it is not your style. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll try and sort of well, that's what as I say, I'm doing the cooking things and other things like that. So we'll definitely try and nick a few. We'll definitely try and nick a few other viewers from someone else. So maybe when Paul Messner isn't looking, we'll bang him on the back of the head, and then all of his viewers will then come over come over my way. Their sense of humor doesn't get any better, I'm afraid. Ever considered camping in some of the incredible tropical places? It's getting to them that's the difficulty. Realistically, I'm probably not gonna get anywhere like that. And I think it's unlikely given home life and things like that. So probably not. But it would certainly be interesting to do something like that. I mean, I'm not saying bit harsh saying that. Well, if you're really really gonna go camping with me, then you're gonna have to bring your A1 sense of humor with me, with you, I mean with me. Yeah, I think it'll be quite an experience actually. Probably the nuttiest YouTuber out there, I think I am. So yeah, that's definitely going to be fun and interesting. So it would be interesting to do somewhere tropical or somewhere different like that, but realistically, probably unlikely. But it would be interesting to do. So I guess if the opportunity, you know, came up. As the actress said to Bishop, if the opportunity came up, then I probably would consider it if it was possible to do. Oh, Tony, as I said before, can I get everything? Oh, Tony, as I said before, I can get everything in my Talon 44. I bought the 55, but not even used it yet. I think I should return it. You won't like the 55. It's if you can get everything in the 44, the 44 is a better pack than the 55. Yeah, I watched my video on it. It's you can get a lot in it, but it's disappointing. And the outside pockets, fill it up. I'm not going to say anything else. Fill it up, fill the pack up, and then see if you can get anything in the outside pocket. You won't. You know, you've got outside pockets that you can't use when the pack's used. It's ridiculous. Um, yeah, I mean, try the Rab Mythic 400, only 660 grams. I think there's a few people that have been using um, Rab Rab stuff. I might. I'd have to check that. It depends how much it is, because it might be worth trying. You know, if it's not too expensive, and just give like a Rab sleeping bag or something like that a go. Because obviously my bags at the moment are you know, my PhD bags, which I've had for 8 years or something like that. You know, when I had them, you know, custom made, exactly how to the size and the width and everything else like that, and they're still going strong. They'll last for years and years and years and years. And yeah, I don't think I don't think there's anything that's better than the PhD bags that I've got, to be honest. And it depends how wide, because when I had my PhD bags made for me, it's just you just go on the PhD website and you just put the specifications in that you want, and then they just, you know, then it's all like they probably all got it all set up anyway, but they literally build it or sew it together to your specifications. And I went wide because I wanted something, you know, that I could turn around in and move my legs and not be completely and utterly mummified. So Stephen, Bliss Outdoors, Stephen, remind me again on that one, because you comment quite a lot on my videos. You know, I recognize you, obviously, you know, I recognize you, you know, because you're commenting all the time. So remind me, just, you know, just give me a reminder on that one in a comment or something like that. And I'll see how much they are. Yeah, it might be worth trying and then do a video on it or something, you know, something like that, because that might, you know, people might be interested in that as well, because yeah, it just, whilst I'm not bothered about views and money, it kind of it just would be nice to, like I said, the bastards out there getting all those thousands of views and everything else like that. So, you know, it would kind of be interesting to, you know, to increase things, you know, a little bit if it happens. So once we've you know, once we've knocked Paul out the way, then we'll be fine. That's like 150,000 subscribers will then flood my channel then, so we'll be doing all right then, won't we? And he must have, I don't know if Paul's still there or not, but yeah, I mean, Paul must have a few of those subscribers tucked away in his pocket or something like that. So if I take him maybe to the top of a tall or the bottom of the valley or something like that, we'll turn him upside down, give him a jolly good shake like that. There must be a few loose subscribers that will fall out of his pocket or something. So, you know, we could grab some of those subscribers as well. So yeah, that might be a good good plan to turn him upside down, shake some subscribers out of his pocket. God, I'm completely and utterly. I think I went years ago. I think I must have got dropped on my head when I was born or something. Um, the Talon 44 is just right for a two-nighter. The Talon 44, yeah, easily for two-nighters, and as long as it's not freezing cold, you could use the Talon 44 for 3 or 4 or 5 days. I mean, it's massive. And the stupid thing is, you know, I got the Talon 44, like I said, about 12 years ago or something like that. I've had it like blooming years. So I don't know whether they've changed the you know, design of it very much. I don't think they have, to be honest. And I probably kind of like shot myself in the foot really with, you know, I'm not going about views and that type of stuff, but you know, I probably shot myself in the foot by only using MLD stuff all the time, because it's probably not something that people search for so much. But you know, I know one or two people, you know, very sensibly and kindly suggested, but if you use something that people are searching for, and drop that in amongst your other stuff, you know, then that might help. And I think it has, you know, I think it has, to be honest. So I probably should have used the Talon. I wasn't really thinking about it, to be honest. I was just like going enjoying myself. And it's only in the last few, you know, last like year or so, and I've seen these new YouTubers coming out, and like I said, you know, getting thousands of views. They've only been there for 5 minutes. So yeah. Mind you, but then again, when I was doing it at the very beginning and I was watching Chad Poindexter, and there was a few other YouTubers back then. It was the same back then as well. You know, everyone else was getting all the views, and I just got a few saying, it doesn't matter, whatever. But yeah, if I can earn an extra couple of quid, then I might be able to, you know, more justify, you know, getting some other kit or something like that. So yeah, that would be interesting. Daryl, hello from Utah. Wow, that's going back. I could maybe tell a story about Utah one day. I was over in that. I could probably talk about my trips to the. This is going back to like 1990s and things like that. But I did a couple of holidays with my mum in an RV. Actually, I think I've mentioned. I think I've done that conversation, haven't I? Before, come to think of it. So check a live stream. Previously, I think I've spoken about those actually, but I don't think I mentioned. Did I mention about Yellowstone? I don't know if I mentioned about Yellowstone. I may have done. I may have mentioned about Yellowstone. I think I did actually. I think I did that one too. I think I bored you about that already. But welcome to, you know, Daryl. Nice to have someone from America. I get quite a few views from America. I think because I use, mind you, then Osprey is American, isn't it? It doesn't really doesn't really make sense. But because I use you know, MLD stuff and lightweight stuff, I think it's more an American thing. I mean, I hear now, you know, on the various Facebook groups and things like that, which I probably ought to, you know, converse more on those so more people get to sort of think, oh, who is this bloke? Well, let's go and look him up. That might get a few more people to the channel as well. But I never really sort of think about it, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, quite a few of my viewers, you know, come from America, and a lot. And you know, and a lot, you know, because it's lightweight stuff. But yeah, I've distracted myself again. Yeah, looking at the, you know, what people are talking about now, you know, they're like talking about the SCARP one. It's like the SCARP one like never existed like 2 years ago. There's like people now are talking about the SCARP, using the SCARP one. They're talking about lightweight stuff and things like that. It's like people have only just discovered the SCARP and lightweight equipment on YouTube or something like that. Yeah, it's been out for like the SCARP one's been out for what, 12 years. If you go back to my videos before I was even camping, I had the SCARP 2. I just preferred using, you know, the MLD stuff. But I probably should have used the SCARP. I should have used the SCARP 2 a few times over the years, just dropped it in, and I just never thought about it. I was just using the stuff that I was using, and because it's so freakingly good, I just didn't really think to use anything else. And like I said, I probably shot myself in the foot a bit on that, because maybe if I'd have used other stuff 5 or 6 years ago, that might have given me a bit of a boost up before all these other bastards came along. So yeah, but I never really thought about it. I never thought about it, but I used the SCARP last year. But like I said, it's just interesting now that, you know, you watch these, you know, you listen to people now, they're saying, well, the SCARP one or lightweight stuff. And yeah, it's been out for years and years. I've been using it for like 10 years now. So that it is kind of interesting watching, you know, watching other people doing what I've been doing for years. And then the bastards still get more views than me. Simon, I am 62 and have to plan well ahead to get out on Dartmoor for a few days. I have done Office Dyke, etc., on the coastal path. This is the best holiday experience you can do. And Dartmoor is a really, really nice place to camp. The only problem with Dartmoor is there's not that many places to actually camp on, because it's so tussocky and you know, boggy in the winter and things like that. It is quite difficult. And again, I'm a bit lazy now, but that's another reason why I tend to go to the same place, because I just want to relax, you know, in camp these days. But yeah, you need to give yourself, if you're going to find somewhere to camp on Dartmoor, then just give yourself time to, you know, to find somewhere, you know, to camp, because it's not necessarily easy, you know, unless you just watch a load. I guess the other thing is watch other YouTubers, and see where they're camping, and then you know, head where they camp afterwards. Let other people do the hard work, and then camp there. But yeah, if you're going to camp on Dartmoor, it is nice there. And if Paul's still around, let's wait until I don't know when you're free or what time frame you're planning on. But I would say let's give it another month at least, and let's longer nights would be nice, and hopefully this weather improves because whilst camping in rain and wind might get a few views and things like that, um, and I'm fine with it, it doesn't bother me. Getting a bit sick and tired of it, I must admit. I mean, like I said, once you're in camp and you're set up and you got your cooker on and you're in your sleeping bag, what the weather does, outside really is completely immaterial. It doesn't matter what it can hammer it down with rain. It can be as chilly as it wants to be. It really doesn't matter what the weather is like outside. Once you're warm and cozy inside your sleeping bag, it's fine. But it's yeah, I will be glad for some sun now, I must admit. It's been um I think the last sunny camp that I had was August. I went to Lake District in September. I went to Lake District in October. And obviously I've been camping down on Dartmoor, at least once or twice a month for each month, every month. And every single camp, it's been foul, miserable weather. And this last camp, I deliberately didn't go on the Monday because um, I was hoping that when I looked at the forecast, the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday was actually quite nice. It looked quite nice on the forecast. Um, not, not. I don't think there was any sun or anything like that, but it just looked a bit cloudy and a bit breezy, and no rain was forecast. And I went down there, and it rained the entire time that I was down there. It was yeah, I mean, as you can see in the video, and those videos did really well with the acto. I mean, the cooking and that it was good fun. I really enjoyed that actually. I'm definitely, and again, I probably should have done more of that cooking stuff a long time ago as well. I got sort of so used to, you know, lightweight, which is still the best way to go, but nobody watches that, or less people watch that. So yeah, lightweight is the way to go. Pack above 25 pounds will make your yeah, exactly. And Tama drums. Well, Tony, I've been watching your channel for a very long time now, which was the first I was looking for camping videos. So I kept watching all your videos, etc., etc. There's definitely quite a few people, who have been watching me for a very, very long time and, and still hang around. And I discovered more channels like Paul Nessner, TA Outdoor. I don't know that one. Joe, I don't know that one. Steve Wallace, don't know that one. All because of me. Well, there you go. So, so all of those people, then they've probably got like thousands and thousands and thousands of subscribers and views then. So they owe me some subscribers then. Lightweight is the way to go. Yeah, the tussocks on Dartmoor yeah, Dartmoor is notorious for for the tussocks. Yeah, it's interesting walking in some places. It's interesting and much more. Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. It's interesting walking down on Dartmoor. I must admit, it is nice. It is a nice area to walk on. Just make sure there aren't any firings, or you just want to make sure the armor's not doing anything or anything like that, and just watch out for adders. But the chances, realistically, the chances of seeing any adders is pretty slim. I mean, I've been walking down there for 20 years, camping for 10 years down there now, and in that time I've seen 3 adders in 20 years. So then bizarrely, 2 of those one was last year and one was the year before. Actually, no, I've seen 4 adders down there. So I saw once in about 2004, and it's so rare I even remember it. Once was in 2004, I was by myself. I was with Sue at the time, but she'd gone off to do something else. I think a hen party or something like that. So that was the first time. 2004, I saw an adder, and I nearly shitted myself. And then I saw another adder in about 2011, and that was on one of my walks when I was walking before I was camping, but it was when I had the so I didn't video it, unfortunately, but it was the video where I pitched the Scarp 2 on top of one of the hills there, and it was that walk there, and I was crossing over. It was a very wet area too. I was really surprised that there was an adder there, and I had bets back then. Um, and that was yeah, I saw an adder then. That was really shook me a lot. I was really back then. I was find seeing adders quite scary. Back then. But then I saw another one 2 years ago when I was walking, and I don't know, I just wasn't so worried then. Maybe because I seen them before, and they don't go for you. I mean, even if you're quite close, I guess if you stood on one, then I think you might have a bad day if you stood on one. Um, but they don't bother you. I mean, no one would go poking around either, but I just leave them be. And then the last one that I saw, which was last year, I tried to get my camera out and tried to take a photograph of it. And by the time I'd fiddle ass around with the bag to get the camera out and made a bit of a noise, even though it was quite quiet, it shifted. So that you don't see them very often, but you just got to be aware that they are there, but they're quite rare. Um, but yeah, it is nice down there. I've been going down there for years now. Um, and then the other thing is obviously, which Simon mentioned, that, the headroom is nice, and that's why I like the mids, the mids so much, the MLD mids, because it's really, really nice to be, to have a lot of room, and that's why actually, as I mentioned in the last live stream, that's why I like the Grace Duo tarp so much, because you can pitch the back of it almost to the ground, and you can pitch one side very low. But if you have a very long pole at the front, obviously you'll be careful the wind doesn't do a 180 on you or anything like that. But as long as the wind stays behind you or to each side of you, and you have a double sized tap, and you pitch your pole very long, or as long as it will go at the front, you can actually have the front of the tap can be really quite high. When I don't mean like Godzilla type high, but like 1.2 meters or something like that, which is ample room to sit up in. And even if it rains, as long as the wind is blowing in that direction, the rain won't come in. So you can actually sit right at the front of the tarp, and the rain won't come in at you. It's so I must admit, I do like tarps, because you get loads of room under them if you pitch them well. And that's the thing I don't really like about a tent is you are limited with with space inside them. Although I must admit, I was impressed, even though obviously I've had that Acto for about 6 odd years, and I've done, several videos of it, in the past. They've all been for one night. And this time I did 3 nights in it, and I must admit I was pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly comfortable. It was nice. I must admit it was MOD still better. But but it was. I must admit, for a tent, it was nice. If you want to drag, 1.5 kilograms of tent with you, then I must admit the Acto is nice. But then of course you've got the Scarp 2 or the Scarp 1, which is a nice tent, and I like it. I like it a lot. But the only thing that I miss in that is the porch isn't very big. And I do like a big porch, as if you've seen that in my videos. I do like to have plenty of space, you know, for where I'm cooking and where my feet go, and that type of thing. I don't want all that outside. And if you saw my video last year when I had the Scarp 2, you know, you're almost, you can come under cover if you have to. If you have to do the door wrap, you can kind of, um there is just about enough room in the Scarp to put, um to do your cooking. If you did the door wrap, you would be okay, but it is quite tight in there, I must admit. Whereas with the with the Acto, there's like the porch in that is massive, um, for what it is. And of course, if you've got a mid, MOD mid, then the porches in that is massive. It's just nice it's nice to have plenty of room where you are, but it's also nice to have enough room around you, where you can do your cooking and your other things like that. And I notice a lot of people. I might do a video on this one day in the future if I think of it. But I know a lot of people use, um, secondary ground sheet things, footprints. I never quite understood the reasoning behind that. I know people, I don't really think they're necessary, but, I might do a video on that one day, in the future. Uh, but yeah, so it's always nice to have, plenty of space there. Organized, feel privileged. I've never watched any of Paul's videos. So Paul gets one more subscriber. I'm not going to mention Paul Messner ever again. He doesn't need any more subscribers. He's got like 150,000 subscribers. So we'll have a ban on. We're no more talking about Paul Messner because he's getting even more subscribers from me now. Then. So yeah, he's interesting. Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's got is very, very good with editing. He comes across. I haven't met him or I've chatted a few times with Messenger thing, a few times, but not very much. But he comes across as a really nice, bastard, as a really nice, really nice person who's done very well on YouTube, and his editing's brilliant. He knows his stuff is interesting. I mean, I enjoy some of his videos. And if you go back to his early videos, which I have done, he's done tarps and bivvies and things like that, as well. So yeah, it's interesting. He's got a few videos like that. Okay, we caught up there. So if there's any other questions or anything like that, because we've been waffling along for about an hour and a half, so I'm going to have to disappear in a minute because it's coming up to 8 o'clock as well. And as some of you know, I have a watch channel, Wild About Watches. So there's 7 of you left. So if none of you are subscribed to the watch channel, pop over there and add a subscribe to the watch channel. So I'm going to go and have a cup of tea, rest my voice for a few minutes, and then I'm going to do another live stream. I can talk about camping until the cows come home, and watches I kind of like only got into recently, so I'm not quite sure how that one's going to go. But I'm going to do another live stream in about 20 minutes, half an hour on my watch channel. Probably not, won't be for an hour and a half, that is for sure. But maybe half an hour and out, whatever, I don't know. So if anyone wants to pop over there, then you're more than welcome there. This has been really, really, really interesting. I may have to watch it. And I will be back again at some point. And I started with a 2-man Peapod 2 tent. Now I use a 2-man OEX tent from Go Outdoors. Peapod. Was that Mountain Ultimate Equipment? Was that my Ultimate Equipment? Because I think I had an Ultimate Equipment tent, going back into the 80s. And yeah, and I used it once, and that was actually it was really, 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 really good tent. I used it like just after the Duke of Edinburgh time, and stupidly, and I kick myself now, I got rid of it like about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago because I thought, well, I'm never gonna use it, and I think I might have lost the crossing poles anyway. And then I chucked it out, and I kick myself now because I wish I could have. It would have been interesting to give it a try now to see how. Yeah. It's a hoop tent from 1982. Yeah, because I bought it. I bought it later than that. I bought it around about. Well, I was born in 71, and I did the Duke of Edinburgh Bronze Award when I was 16, and I bought the Peapod, the Ultimate Equipment Peapod, when I was probably about 17 or something. I was learning to drive, um, but I hadn't passed my test at that time. So I reckon I was 17, but or maybe even like maybe even like 16 and a half or something like that. But I know I had it, but just before I was actually driving. Yeah, so I was about 17 when I had that because I passed my I'm born in August, and I passed the test first time in November when I was 17. So maybe I didn't have access to a car. I don't know. I can't remember now. Time goes so quickly. I can't remember now, but it was a nice tent, and I do regret getting rid of that tent because it would have been interesting to have used, an old tent, today, because it was a good tent, and that company went bust, which was a bit of a bit of a shame. All right, I'm going to stop waffling along, and I had to waterproof bits of it. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's a shame I don't have mine. Um, all right, I'm going to have to disappear. Like I said, pop over to the watch channel in about 20 minutes, half an hour, if you so wish to. There's a link to it. You can't miss it. In all of my videos, just go to the description. You can head there that way. Could do with a few more subscribes there. I'm on 630 or something like that. Yes, that would be, and I can lend you mine if you want to have a laugh. Yeah, that would be interesting actually, if you could. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Give like Tony takes takes a dinosaur out camping or something like that. That could be interesting. And like I said, if there's any kit or anything else like that that you would be interested in me using that I don't have, then again, let me know, and it's something I can think about, getting, in the future. All right, I'm going to disappear. I need to wet my mouth, and I will catch you all later on the watch channel if you come over. Otherwise, we'll be back here again. We'll do another one of these in, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks time. Maybe not 2 weeks, but 2 or 3 weeks time. We'll do another one of these. Thanks very much, and I will see you all again soon. And thank you very much for all the likes, subscribes, and and all the support from the last 10 years of those of you that do watch, and new people. There was someone new that came along, for the new viewers and the new people. Thank you for the new folks as well. There's 470 videos behind us. Go back and watch them. Go back and watch some of those videos, because like I said, some people have been watching them all the way through. So some of them must be okay. So yes, Simon, thank you. Yes, we'll catch out the next one. I'll put because obviously with this one, I'll let you know about 24 hours beforehand. So I will, make sure I let you know, in advance. Use Six Moons Designs. I haven't used anything of Six Moons. I've heard of them. That's another American company, isn't it? Yeah, it might be something to look out for in the future. All right, I'm going to disappear. I will see you all again very, very soon. Thank you very much. I do appreciate your support, and thank you very much. See you soon.